Excess of everything is bad. We've all heard of this phrase at some point of our lives. But does this everything encompass everything? Like even the good things? Like, is excess money bad? Is excess ambition bad? Is excess love bad? Initially, I thought that some things cannot be bad even if you do them excessively. Like, for example, exercise. You can't go wrong with that, right? Until I found out that there's something called as exercise addiction, which is actually categorized as a disease and can actually cause physical injuries and damage your internal organs also. So, today we are going to discuss how the rule of moderation is the key to a fulfilled life and how excess of anything is appealing but generally disastrous. Let's discuss this in today's episode of Perfectly Average. So, for those of you that haven't noticed already, the album art of this podcast is a bell curve. If you trim the edges of the bell curve and fatten it up, you would have what is called as an inverted U graph. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about. So, there's a theory called the inverted U graph theory, and it's basically a graphical representation of the performance of an athlete versus the level of arousal he has. So, if you have very low arousal, then the performance of the athlete is also very low. But if you have too much arousal, then also the performance is very low. So, the optimal level of performance is reached in the middle of the graph where the tip of the mean is. And this happy medium is going to be a core concept in today's talk. This median between the extremes of the graph is where we would find the most amount of fulfillment and peace. So just remember this image in your head and we'll use this image to understand all the other scenarios that come across us. Before understanding the rule of moderation and why is it important, we have to understand why the extremes are so appealing to us. And like everything else, the answer is evolution. So, for us humans, or for any animal in fact, the primal instinct is to hoard. Now, why hoard? Well, because we didn't know when the next source of food is going to come. So, we used to hoard everything we got. That's the reason also why we like high calorie food, because we wanted to gather as much energy as possible and try to conserve it. That's why we also don't like exercising. So that's one reason for the appeal. But the other reason is that we like to classify stuff and we like to make it easy for ourselves. We can't live in a world where there are different shades of gray. We like to live in a world where everything is black and white. Because finally classifying anything takes a lot of understanding and courage, while categorizing something broadly is easy and anyone can do that. So that's the other reason why we lean towards the extremes. The other reason that I think is true is that we tend to prefer short term gratifications over long term profits. Because short term gratification gives you that immediate high. It might not be the best thing to do in the long term, but it gives you that sensation of having something or getting something, like shopping, like smoking, or even eating. So it's difficult to focus on the long term profit in light of the instant high that you get from a short term goal. Now I'll explain how this bias towards the extremes ingrained in our minds is taken advantage of by some people. Example 1, EMIs. EMIs are the most profitable ventures by any bank because EMI lets you buy an extremely expensive product without you feeling that you can't afford it. Example 2, cost of products in a menu. So I'd read this a long back somewhere, but I didn't believe it until it happened with me a couple of times. So what they do is that in some restaurants, they put the most expensive dishes in the front and at the back. So what they make you do is that you purchase a fairly overpriced dish thinking that you chose the most reasonably priced dish of them all. Example 3, combos. Have you ever seen how buying an individual piece of anything is comparatively expensive than buying the pack of 4 or pack of 8 or pack of 16 of the same thing? So what consumer capitalism is doing is that making you believe that you actually save money even though you spend much more money than you actually would have in the first place. Example 4, binge watching. Have you noticed that until a few years back, all TV shows that were released one episode per week or fortnight? But nowadays, all TV shows that are release all the entire season at one go. Why? Well, because you watching an entire season in one go probably has a more chance of you watching and remembering an advertisement than you would had you been watching one episode per week of that show. So now that we've understood the excess side of things, let's try and understand why moderation is important. So to understand the rule of moderation, we have to understand a concept that was introduced by Aristotle. So it's called the golden mean concept. So what he says in this concept is that there is a desirable mean between two extremes of any human characteristic. Like for example, if you are deficient in courageousness, then you are a coward. But if you have too much courage, then you are rash. Similarly, if you have too little ambition, then you are a sloth. But if you have too much ambition, then you are greedy. And he goes on to explain this concept for other human characteristics as well, like friendship, composure, temperance, self control, and etc. etc. So, now that we know what moderation means, let's see how it applies to our daily lives. Like start with a very basic example like eating. Any good dietitian in this world will tell you that it's not about good foods and bad foods. Of course, there are some extreme forms of dieting and whatnot, but we're talking about the general population here. In most cases, the key to having a good diet and maintaining a good body, a physique, is moderation and not extremism. You don't have to cut out all fats, all sugars, and all carbs from your diet to be fit. Instead, you just have to eat everything in moderation. Let's take another example of stress. So, before I explain that, I really want to explain a concept that I really like. It really fascinates me. It's called the Goldilocks effect. So, if you haven't noticed, but in our solar system, Earth is the only planet that has sustainable life. Why is that? Well, because Earth is in the sweet spot of not being too away or too close to the sun. If you're too close, then you get too hot and no water forms. And if you're too away, then you are a ice planet. And similar is the case with stress. You need stress to be productive, but not too much stress. So they came up with a number 4%. 4% is the amount of stress or difficulty that you need to be productive and get into that state of flow where you could be optimizing the energy that you are using. Similar is the case with excitement. It said that you should be in a happy medium. What is a happy medium? It's that you should not be too excited or too little excited about something. Like if you're excited too much about something, then you're probably wrecking something up. But if you're too little excited, then you're not interested and not learning from that experience. Also, the same case with power or money. If you have too little power, too little money, then you are probably not going to do a lot of stuff that you should do. But also, if you have too much money or too much power, then it may or may not translate into you becoming a lunatic monarch. Jokes apart, I wanted to address another thing. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking that how can some emotions, if exercised in excess, be bad? Like, for example, a guy that does not get angry at all, how is that bad? But a lot of theories have shown that, and a lot of studies also, that people who repress their anger that repression translates them having a lot of mental health issues that are related to them repressing their emotions in any social situation. So most good therapists recommend them to, show their emotions when required in a decent manner. This holds true for love also. How can love be excessive? Love is unlimited, right? But studies have shown that loving something, some work, or an actual person can have serious psychological problems associated with it. If you love something too much, then you associate your identity with them. It's called a codependent personality. It also leads you to be a little more anxious in any situation where you feel that the object or subject in person can be harmed or be altered. This isn't to say that you shouldn't love something or someone, but it's just to say that you should not depend completely and solely on something or someone. If you associate yourself and deny your own existence, it will have serious consequences. Like people say stuff like, I love you more than I love myself. That is not a very good way to live life. Similarly, how is too much passion a thing? Can it be bad if I'm too much passionate about the stuff that I do or the work that I do? Well, it's bad because if you see that a lot of people, especially in the creative field, that obviously love what they do, are also the ones that face a lot of psychological pressure and even depression if they don't get the results that they expect to get. Well, because they associate their work with themselves too much. If the work does not get appreciated enough, they feel like they are not appreciated enough. That's why too much passion can also be a bad thing. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule, and so is with this rule also. Like, for example, if you're a drug addict who is trying to quit marijuana, then it's not advisable for you to have even a little bit because then you can relapse. So, the rule of moderation does not work there. Similarly, if you're on a no sugar diet and you're trying to follow a regime, also there you cannot have a little sugar because then it will break the entire metabolism that you've developed over a couple of weeks. So, all of this to say that extremes might be glorified by the society, but moderation is what will lead you to live a satisfactory life. And maybe being average isn't bad after all. Thanks for listening. See you in the next one.